We are entering round 5 of the 2025 US Go Congress Masters Division. Um, there is only two undefeated players left, the Unstoppable Wall and the strongest, highest rated player, the 9P Wang Yuanjun. So naturally, we're going to see the two top contenders fight for the sole undefeated remaining spot, and this is likely going to determine the eventual champion for the tournament. The game starts with very normal josekis, as many games now do. Ang is playing white, Ang is playing black. Let's see if he is able to take down the second 9-dan professional, the more active one, the higher ranked one, number 118th player in the world. In this one, it's the most highly anticipated matchup this round. So the Shusaku's diagonal move, it's very famous and very popular nowadays. The benefit of this move is that it puts a lot more pressure on the one white stone. This is why you'll generally see this two-space extension after this. If white tenukis, there are relatively strong follow-ups. In the game, black plays a knight's move, which is faster for black's development, but as usual, as per case for these kinds of moves, they usually don't put as much pressure against white as the closer in move, and so white tenukis and goes into the 3-3. This is this is modern opening theory. This is very highly efficient. So after black takes sente on the lower left, black pincers. Great, so we had mentioned before, Wang is a very attacking, not shy about attacking kind of a strong 9P player, and Ang is a very wall-like, it's like so today this is like literally the strongest attacking player versus the strongest most solid player, sort of like the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object today. So highly anticipated, and here we see the right away white invades while with another stone under pincer. This is literally jumping into another already pincered position. Of course, this move is AI approved. It is also forming a pincering counterattack against this bottom black corner. This is why this kind of invasion move is all very strong, and this is why the 3-3 invasion is really popular nowadays and AI approved. It's because some kind of invasion here is also forming a counter-attacking pincer against the corner black position, traditionally thought of as very strong for black, now realized to be not as strong. For example, traditionally we had the joseki that looked something like this one. More specifically, people never played the 3-3 because all players, including all the professionals, thought that the Hane Connect was necessary. Now this would give black too much thickness, and nowadays people are okay with not exchanging that, and as a result black is much less strong, and that's why this kind of invasion is able to be played, and that's why this whole 3-3 invasion joseki can be played. So in the game, black extends. This is a valid follow-up. This is really maximizing the strength of the weakest black position, black group, and this is of course very AI approved and Go theory approved, in the sense that this is strengthening the weakest attacking stones from black. I think it may have been a bit of a strategy on White's part to allow Black to go on the attack. We saw in the last game when On took on the top dog in top dog US pro, North American pro in Ryan. When Ryan went for some kind of an attack, it really backfired and Ryan lost the game because of the first aggressive attack. This may have been luck, or it may have been strategy that White won the 9p in this case, is deliberately playing relatively aggressively and allowing Black to go on the attack. Has he judged that On is very, very strong on the defensive counter-attacking end and not that strong at the the attacking end? Maybe. I myself certainly am that way. I don't know. I just haven't seen enough of On's games to know, but I do know that from what I've seen, On is super strong on the defensive counter-attacking fight. So if I were to play, I would have followed the same strategy as well. So I guess the first fighting sort of bears this out. On the top left, this is because Black's f16 stone is a little bit further away from the corner, it becomes very okay for White to go and save the one stone, and afterwards White is able to destroy a lot of territory and connect. Feels okay for White at the moment, but again, both sides are playing very, very AI approved moves. This one I'm not so sure about. I think this direction is slightly off. Black is looking for this kind of a ko. This is recommended, but I think White usually White wants to accept this kind of ko. If you want to really avoid the ko, you suffer this Atari, and later on this turn becomes Sente, which is almost unbearable for White. So, but then in any case, White has two jumped stone positions here on the upper side. There's very little development potential for either side on the left, and so it feels like White, by transitioning towards the left-hand side, is a little bit small, but generally still relatively fine. So then Black moves on to the top right, and here we can see how overall Black, the immovable object, the wall, the brick wall, he has turned this very aggressive invasion and counter-attacking position by White in the first fight of the game. He has transitioned that into a position where, again, Black has a lot of thickness over here, capturing two stones, also thickness over here, and White, White has, looks like White has a lot of territory, and this was territory made with Black potential, so it's very looks like White has a lot of efficiency. But again, remember, White dared Black to go for the full attack, and now Black has skillfully transitioned the game into one where Black is super solid again. And from here on out, we're gonna see the super solid play once again. So I think Black's gameplay, game strategy does kind of hinge around having very carefree, riskless groups, which he has been able to transition into. And this is very impressive. It's sort of like White dared him or tried to force him to go on the full attack, but he refused. He didn't. He chose this reversal of direction and just moved on to the rest of the game. Quite well played. I think this is like, if I were him and I was best at this kind of play, I would have done the same thing. So yeah, it's great. I would have done the same strategy as White and as Black, except you know, much less effectively as either of them. So very good to see here. And here we can see a much more drawn out, longer game forming up. And this is actually On's game, and he does prefer these low total amount of territory kind of games. And so here the 9p1 makes another very provocative attacking move here to just keep invading. This is exactly his game plan. He has not given up on that. And On just strengthens the cutting stone instead of answering here. This is the next part goes into this kind of fighting, and still very totally even. The game is so even. It's chills. It's crazy. Look at this. Black was ahead by 0.2 10 moves ago, still by 0.2 right now. This kind of fighting is exactly what On really prefers. So look, everything is super solid, and now Black has almost nothing to worry about. The middle 3 stones and the white group is all that Black has to worry about. There's no like large white potential or weak Black group on the other sides of the board, and this is very chilling and great to see from both sides. And from a game plan perspective, I do think White's game plan of invading, starting very complicated fighting, has not paid off, because right now White has invaded in many places, but Black has been able to build a fair amount of territory without not falling behind on territory, with very strong, very okay groups. Okay, so a situation report. You guys can tell how the it's very even up to around this point. Around here, let's do a little bit of a count. This is 10, 20, 25, this is 10, and this is 5, this is like 8. So Black is gonna have 48, something like that. White is gonna have 12, this is 3, so that's 15. If this is all territory, that would be around 20. And so White is going to have just 35 points. So actually Black has the lead on territory now. Black has 2 weak groups, which again, as we mentioned, this kind of defensive counter-attacking fight is exactly in On's playhouse. So the next part of the fighting continues, and Black plays here. White plays a Sente move here. This peep was done so that the this cut does not work. However, White is able to play this peep and this connect, and now the earlier peep by Black, the bad effects is shown, and this is where White is sort of beginning to wrangle his way into the game. 9Ps excel at all forms of at all parts of the game, and attacking is probably okay for the very most aggressive player in the tournament. And in this case, both players are getting the type of game that they really want. On the defensive counter-attacking game, and Wang the attack and very aggressive kind of game. So Black is under a little bit of threat, but Black has a lot of fully secure territory. So at this point, White plays this lower right corner to catch up on territory. And remember, when White makes this middle group, that's a little bit of extra territory too. So right now White is no longer behind on territory. Black plays the honey connect. This has an added benefit of securing the life of the group, and but from the size of these moves, we can see that the game is really zoned in on this minute details. Here This kind of game is called a kung fu game kind of style because of how really finely grained everything is. When white connects here, white has this game is totally even. And the kung fu game style is with very few numbers of points for either side. It's like the game's hinges on like very small intricacies with like getting one more point here, one more point there, and so on. And here this honey connect actually was a little bit too slow from on, and this was a mistake that catapulted white to a significant lead. In this kind of game, where the relative differences and the point totals and the point volatility is very low, this kind of position really, so like a few points really matter a lot in this kind of position. So in the game, white was able to get a couple of moves in Sente. The last two moves surrounded a little bit of territory for white in the center, and the connect is very big. It has a potential to be double Sente, and then white comes back to the lower right corner to play the big endgame move. Right now we're into endgame territory with a 5-point lead for white, which is the largest the lead has ever gotten to. And we can see why. It's 6.4 now. We can see why, because the last few moves from white were mostly territory foe, like this move, and the last few moves by black were either in the middle here, in that diagonal move, that blocking move. The contrast is stark, so white has played a lot of point value rich moves and black has not, and that's why white is now able to get somewhat ahead. However, because black has played relatively thick, very solid moves, black now next was able to score a little bit of points gain here in the Sente, and then moving back, and here when white attaches, now black is in a little bit of trouble. White is ahead by 4.5, and with just a regular normal play, black is going to have a very hard time. Of course, it's already move 150, and notice that we haven't said anything remotely on the order of like, wow, I can't believe black has held on for this long, things like this, words of this nature. And that's because clearly black has displayed such strongness and immovable objectness. So here at this peep right now, the best response for white is to counter attack in this manner, play this move. White still has a over 5-point advantage. If black gives way, like this, interesting. Black 4 AI is a little confused. So 3-4 points advantage. It's very difficult to respond in this kind of finely grained position. In the game, white does what we would all do, protect the territory. However, here is where, remember, a lot of black moves before were points light, and white's moves were relatively points rich. At this moment, when black was able to push through here, black has now been able to sort of cobble together the relatively earlier points light moves around this area, these kinds of moves, and now he's connected all of these and forms a very nice center potential. And here he coming to surround the center potential. And so this is the kinds of play that's really one, hard to deal with, and two, very difficult to fight against. White played points-rich moves and black didn't, but a few moves later he was able to, leverage those thickness value moves into this much potential territory. So at this point, when black plays this counter-attacking move, the game is actually very, very tight. The game has now swung back to even. White is only leading by half a point, and we really don't see where did white come up, where did black come up with all these points. It's very, very hard to tell. Oh wow. So one thing here was when white plays the honey and connect, this was slightly better than what white did in the game. When black is under threat here, it was okay for white to go for the more, the bigger threat. It's probably going to force black to extend and make two eyes. Black is going to try to do something a little more aggressive or fine, but generally now was a great time to go for the sente and the go for the normally gote move, but maximum points move, because when black is under attack, he's gonna get sente. It's sente for white as well, and so that one little bit of a mistake gave black this opportunity to counterattack. Remember, when black blocks at S8, it's like 8 points we counted for him. And so after this move, after black Ataris here, white has found it very, very difficult to continue fighting here. And in the game, white decides to play the iron pillar move to connect the 3 stones to the corner and allow black to take the panuki. This is a game swinging and deciding moment for sure. Before, white was super comfortable, but with this very nice counterattack by black, a few more points was surrounded, and even though white was able to encroach into the center, the game is now a half-point game. When black played here, it was very painful for white to have to play a smaller move to make sure that white has 2 eyes. Same with T12. This is what makes On such a strong opponent to play against. It's so solid, white could do no damage against black. And even when white pulled ahead in territory, one little bit of a careless move, and it was totally back to even. And here, white makes a small mistake with this peep, and now actually for the, since the beginning of the game now, black has a advantage, and a significant one at that. So this is very, needless to say, this is a lot of pressure on white. Is On going to take down his second 9p on his way to a second Go Congress victory? Last year he fought against most of his own other top Korean amateur players and several Korean professional women and the North American players. This year he's fighting 2 9ps. You could say that the NA players are not as competitive, but this year the two relatively active 9ps, there is this would be like the highest quality US Go Congress victory ever. He's ahead by 2.9, and I'm sure he's regretting not playing a move like this one. Also, that wouldn't work either. I shudder to think where the moves would be. This is now white by 2.6, so clearly I would not have been able to win this game. Maybe it's here to. This is only 1 point. I have no idea what how to do this in the game. This move lost 1 point, which is still relatively big. Here, white played this move. I was watching at this exact moment for the last few moves. I saw On shake his head a lot. No one could tell who was winning without the AI. I was watching live, so I could not tell who was winning. When white played this move and capture, we were like, surely this is 6 points in this very, very tight game. Surely must do it, right? And in hindsight, afterwards, no, this is still only black ahead by half a point, and this move would have been the same. I think it was up to White to let the code develop and really fight the Zhang in the end game. When Black played here, it was half a point, and this OGS uses 6.5 Komi. AGA is 7.5, so this is now totally a half pointer without any totally half pointer. So the game continues up to this point here. Black is ahead by half, which would give him 7 points on the board. But AGA rules, it all depends on who gets the last Komi. Here, Black's biggest endgame was this move. This would be worth so that's the move. Play this one. When White Ataris, Black does not have to save this one. Black could take this. There was another very big area on the board. Anyways, this was what Black needed to do, the Sente moves here. And in the game, when Black just took these two stones, it's worth 2.5 points. This was 1 point too small. Yes, Black played there, and then the Sentes, and then played this capture. Yes, that's right. First play all the biggest Sentes you have, and then play the biggest Gotes. This bottom would turn out to be worth 4 points, and then this middle was 2.5. It was turned out to be worth 4 points because Black plays here, White plays here, and then later this move is worth, this is considered like this, and when White played here, it's like it was 4 points. It was so Black played a 2.5 points move, White played a 4 points move. There was one less point because otherwise White may have some Sentes at 0.4, so Black lost right around 1 point here, and as a result, this was a White 1.5 point win. And by AGA rules, because Black ended up getting the last Dame point, it was literally half a point. Half a point victory by White. It was 6 points on the board, so no matter which rule set we used, Black would have lost. But I'm sure at the end there, with that 1 point loss, it would have really nagged him a lot. One last thing to mention, it was that right around these moments when the games were really decided, both players were drawing down their time to the last second, literally the last second. AGA used Fisher time in this Go Congress, and so every move gave them 20 extra seconds. And so basically they were playing with 20 seconds per move all the way in the end game. And when Black played the slightly smaller end game, it sealed the victory for White. So it was half a point, and what a nail biter it was. And so in the ultimate battle for first place and very likely championship, the most highest quality tournament championship in outside of Asia, it was Wang Yuanjun, the world's number 118th player, winning by half a point, and on the tough Korean Immovable wall, he fell short by half a point. And I thought both of them played at the last, when the countdown went to 1, multiple times. It was quite a sight to behold. Congratulations to Wang. This went as expected, but Ang put up a much stronger fight than expected. This is his type of game, and it's this kind where it's like very solid territories. It's like 23 points, 10 points, like 14, like 5. This is like 15 points. Very low point totals, and White also has a similar counts, and very like this is how this guy's games go. Very few captured stones, and dead stones and so on. So this is the quintessential like kung fu game where both sides are like it all came down to very minute details, and where like every little thing mattered. And black a little bit of a less than precise end game, super strong late middle game to really take back the lead from white, and then slightly less precise end game gave the game to Wang, half a point. It was the closest game, and it's only fitting that the so far undefeated 4-0 players would battle all the way to the end by half a point. This was great. Of course, this was the highlight of match number of round 5. Very, very rich game, and a super high level game. What a game to behold. Thanks for watching, and in the next game we're gonna see another top matchup on board 2, also in round 5, except this time we're gonna see a lot more fireworks. See you guys in the next video.